The speaker, Mr. Dale Catholic. He's a taphophile. A person who loves to do work with cemeteries. That's a taphophile. Tonight he's going to have this sort of a PowerPoint demonstration of cemeteries in northeastern Pennsylvania, primarily rural, small cemeteries, isolated cemeteries, cemeteries that have been forgotten, overgrown with weeds, all over northeastern Pennsylvania, mostly small cemeteries. He has done 272 cemeteries, 18,400 stones photographed. He has visited 13 counties, mostly in northeastern Pennsylvania, and 4 states. Last week he was in Kentucky and he took at least this one cemetery, 2 cemeteries down there. So he loves to do that work. His work takes him traveling in northeastern PA. He sees the cemetery, he stops and photographs. He uses what is called GPS. If some of you don't know that, he could explain that tonight, how he locates the cemeteries. He has a background too numerous to mention. He's president of the Scott Township Historical Society. He has memberships in Carbondale, Brooklyn, Pennsylvania, Lackawanna Historical Society. He is an all-around scholar in that respect. And he wants it to be interactive tonight. You can stop him at any time. You can actually ask for a name. He goes by cemeteries, but if you want the name Jones or something, he could do a search, and he may find that in one of these cemeteries in northeastern Pennsylvania. And questions during his presentation or after. Can we start now? Dennis?
Thank you. Okay, like he said, it's going to be interactive, so right from the get-go, if you have questions.
Your microphone.
Yeah, I know. I've been researching, like he said, since 1997, and I have a database of like 272 cemeteries. I have a family tree program, over 54,000 names on it. And the cemeteries, I started doing them on my travels. I've seen a lot of small cemeteries, and I thought they may be of interest to people doing genealogy. So I started photographing them. And the work that I do, I'm out on the road a lot. They're the counties I've done so far in Pennsylvania. And I'll start right with Lackawanna. And like I said, any questions you have, these are all mainly small ones. There's some big ones in there.
Are each one of those things, Dale, a cemetery or a tombstone?
Oh, each one is a cemetery.
Each one of those little blocks is a cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Right in front of the Marian Convent one. That's all the nuns up there. That's up in Gunmore. He was mentioning the GPS. If you look up here, there are the coordinates right there. I use this little
So
device.
every tombstone has a GPS coordinate?
No, just a cemetery.
Oh, every cemetery has a
Yeah, no,
GPS.
it wouldn't be worth doing that. There's too many of them.
Excuse me,
Yes.
do you have a Stratford Cemetery?
Stratford, whereabouts is that located?
Can you repeat what they say, Dale, so everybody else can hear?
Would you speak up louder, people? We can't hear back here.
She's looking for the Stratford Cemetery? No, whereabouts is that located? Is it a small one?
Yes, it's very small and it's definitely
Stratford.
forgotten.
The Stratford Cemetery in Scranton.
Whereabouts in Scranton? Is that
You know
where it is?
Yes, it's
all
back
growing
the
up.
end of, between I think Watson and Rundle Street. And,
Yes, I do. What did I call that?
That's in West Side.
yeah,
Okay. Watson and Rundle Streets in West Side is the Stratford Cemetery. Is that what you said, miss?
This is it.
Yes, Stratford.
There's the Stratford Cemetery right there.
That's the gate.
That's
Yeah,
it, right,
That's it there.
right, yeah.
And that's what it looks like.
Can you see if you have a ferry in there?
Harry?
It's-
Oh,
that's
my
what the
word.
Cemetery looks like, is that last picture.
I don't have a whole, there's not a whole lot of stones in there.
I know, we tried to walk it, but it was so grown up, we
No,
couldn't
it
get
is.
through.
It is, no, I can see, I mean, if I had a lot more, I'd do a regular search, but I could read as it is. Now, there's pews in there.
Okay, no Perry in there. Anybody else?
There is a Perry in there,
Oh.
but we just don't know where because we have the deed for the lot from his grandfather.
Well, this is
They
what
couldn't
I
find a
know.
stone.
Pardon?
You know if there is
Named
a
it
stone?
that because of.
No, we tried to walk it, but
That was the name.
it's so grown up and we couldn't get through and then we went back again and got through and we're shifting back and forth. We have a deed for the lot, but we don't know where the grave is.
Yeah, the topographical maps come county size,
Okay.
or there's sections of county. And the sections of the county, that's Lackawanna County.
Right.
This is the 1 by 24,000 section. And when you get that, a lot of times it has the names on it. Scratch it here.
Maybe at the end of Watkins Street.
We have all those maps.
About this, they don't have.
Nobody owns it. Nobody's
No,
claiming
no,
it.
I'm not, I'm trying to answer this gentleman over there. Our genealogical society has the topographical maps of 7 counties of northeastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And we have them all digitized.
You have all the cemeteries marked on it.
We have a great many of the cemeteries marked on it, but we don't have them all marked on it because there was a time when we were recording all the cemeteries.
It's right there.
Okay.
There's Cathedral.
Yeah, I'll have to change that name later. But when I find them, if I don't know what the name is, what street it's on, or what the most common name is, and I'll normally use that. But these are, they're all in Lackawanna County, and some of them are real, like this one here, the State Cemetery. It is grown in, you can see it right there. And I drove by, I got directions from someone, and they said that there was a cemetery in there. Well, I seen a woman outside cutting the grass, and I stopped. And I asked her, she said, there is, but we don't really want you going in there. I said, really? I said, okay. I said, is there a lot of stones in there? And she said, maybe 3 or 4. We took pictures a number of years ago. And she said, we were afraid of having people going in, maybe trying to clean it up and getting hurt. So I said, is there any chance, well, you took pictures, you told me. And she said, yeah. Any chance I could see those pictures? She said, come on in the house. So I got to meet her husband, and I said, is there any chance at all of me walking in there? I said, I'm pretty agile. I have a game leg, but I can. He said, knock yourself out, go on in. So I went in, and there's what I saw. And it is in, there are some of the pictures that they took, but it is in very, very bad shape. You can see branches right over the stones.
What's the earliest date in there? Do you know, Tom? Or Dale?
In the 1800s, right there. That's 1874.
1874.
Yeah.
Looked like there was one there for 1980.
Well, 1844 right there. Cooper Estates. That's up by, you know where the observatory is?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you turn down the road, go past that, it's at the bottom of the hill on the left, but you won't see it. It's growing in so bad. So little ones like that are the ones I'm interested in because there's only records on a stone. Now there's bigger ones. Let's see. Okay, this is Little Lee Cemetery in Fell Township. There's not even stones there. I'm looking for a list. It is a cemetery. The Lee family there, it's walled in, but there's no tombstones at all. So that I'll have to, whatever I get from when I stop here at Joe's, the death records he has, if I find them there, I'll put them in. German was the biggest one I did because I belonged to that society and they asked me to do that for them. What I'm doing there, and cemeteries like that, where I'm finding the records, I have the records of most of the Civil War soldiers for Lackawanna County. And here you have Corporal John Ayers, well, now his records right there. When he was born, when he was died, burial, German cemetery, and his length of service. That came from the Bates history there. But I have an awful lot of them. He was a corporal, he was 69 years old. There was Jason Ayers that didn't have a stone. He probably did at one time, but I have his, in fact, it says right here he had a GAR stone, but that's gone. It's probably grown in and fallen over, destroyed. But I've been doing that, and where I could find pictures of people, I've been putting them in there. Now, I jump over to Wayne County. There's a cemetery here. These are all the ones so far that I found in Wayne. Osgood Cemetery. If you take a close look at this, look at the top of the hill, right in there, that's where it is. You gotta walk, it's all poison ivy. But I found out fortunately, that doesn't bother me. I was given directions a couple of weeks ago to a cemetery, he said, wear long pants. It was hot, so I put them on, I got up there, and I thought, it's the same stuff I've been jotting through for 4 years now. I called him on the phone, I said, this is poison ivy? He said, yes. Doesn't bother me, so I pushed to the side and I got this. But I walked all the way up, and there it is, there's a Revolutionary War veteran right here.
Somebody has a flag there.
That's, if you know we're up in Lake area, 191, 196, there's like a V in the road there, it's in the V. You won't see it unless you know where you're looking. But I have done that there.
Some of those trees are 40 years old.
I found a picture of him. He actually lived long enough to get a photo taken, and he's probably the only one who piece of age I found or ever would have had a picture taken. He might have some drawings, but this is an actual photo. But nobody takes care of this cemetery. I mean, you can see it's just, that's one. There's the Lee Cemetery. This one here, I got directions from Homer Butler, and he's a historian up in the Wayne County area. I went up, couldn't find it. Walking through the woods, started knocking on doors. A woman came out in her 80s, she said, it's across the street in that woods. I said, they just came out of there. She said, go back in, look harder. So I did. And there it is, leaning up against the stone, the tree there, one stone. And that is, there's a cemetery there, that's all. It says, here lies Ruth, wife of Samuel Rogers. She died in 1817, and that stone is laying like that, the weather's learned, so I did a rubbing on it, right there, and I took pictures of that, the rubbing, I carried rubbing paper in the car there, but it was awful hard to read. And it did say 1817, there it is, one stone, it's right next to the road, and the coordinates are right there. So little ones like that, the Snook Cemetery, there was a veteran in there, and I found his stone. It's laying down, and I also got his records. It is a private cemetery, very poor condition back then in 1935. You look at the whole cemetery, they're all laying down. And there's a guy who took me in. It looked like it was a septic mound. And I said, where's the cemetery? He said, up there. I said, that's a septic. He said, no, that's a cemetery. We went in, walked up, and there it is, everything laying down. When he was a kid, see, just like that.
Yeah, it does look like a sand mound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody, when he was a kid, he said there was a lot of flags on there and stuff. There's another one up here. This family here, the Field family, it's, I found out from Homer, they're Indians, American Indians, and they took the name Field, and they're buried up there right alongside the road on, up by Lake Area, not far from that Osgood Cemetery. I think it's Advent Road it's on.
Yeah, how about going Greenfield?
Greenfield Township.
Now we don't even know if it's a Greenfield, it's just an county.
That one there would be the Burdick Cemetery.
What?
This Burdick Cemetery, the one that you and I went in. We
Yeah.
walked in, yeah. This one here, you remember, any people familiar with Geraldo's restaurant? The Newton Lake?
Yeah.
You know where Geraldo's was?
Yeah.
If you walk 1 mile behind Geraldo's, in the woods there, you'll find a cemetery. And we knew there was one back there somewhere. You have to walk down this road,
Yeah, I ran into
and you
him.
make a left, and it's way down up in those trees there. I mean, you'd never find it even with a helicopter. I mean,
What's the war veteran in there?
once and we brought flags, and we didn't know if we even find the cemetery, so we left them in the truck, and we got in there, there's one veteran.
How many graves are there? It's like behind Geraldo's? Because
We live in Greenfield.
Really? Okay. Well, I'll show you. Let's see. That's the wall around it, and you can see it's been not taken care of. There's poison ivy and everything. There's probably maybe 10 stones, 12 stones. Right there is one of them.
When you get behind that vacant building, where do you go? Because I overheard you talking to Clara at the Greenfield
Yes.
Museum.
She thought it was back there.
And I went looking, and I walked down that field, couldn't even begin to find a
You got to go next to Geraldo's where the gas station was now, and there's
Right.
another building next. There's a little road right between them. And it has
Yeah.
that fence. Follow that right down there.
Do you go way back through the field?
Absolutely.
Just like where
Back
that
and back
road
and
is.
back and back? Okay.
Right.
Back, yeah.
How far back? Chester, it was about a mile, or at least a mile walking.
they have to walk, right?
Yeah, you gotta walk,
Long walk.
because it's blocked off.
They
You gotta
take
jump the
left, they go
fence?
through trees, yeah.
Why am I walking?
We gotta leap the fence,
You
yeah.
gotta jump the fence.
You gotta leap the fence like a
You
gazelle.
know, get get poison.
I don't even know if we're fighting to get over
Why
there.
would they want to bully you?
But there are the stones there.
Yeah.
And
One Civil War veteran in there, too.
one Civil War veteran, Burdick, they're all.
So you went back and got the flag and put a flag on his grave?
No, there he is there. No, we have to go back. But Clara wants us to take her and the rest of the society for a walk.
Company B, 50th Pennsylvania
That's
Infantry?
him right there, D.B.
And
Burdick.
there's that walkway, so you're going down that way.
Yeah, that's it. Now, there's another Burdick cemetery up in Susquehanna County.
So it's
Right here. This is in Highway 2012. This one is in a little bit worse shape than that. And I had asked permission to get on that. This is in horrible condition. You have vehicles ready to fall over, and nobody takes care of this anymore. It's up inside these pines. The guy said, walk in by that big pine, you'll see it.
Where's this one, did you say?
You know where Tinker Creek Road is?
Susquehanna County.
No, Clifford.
In Gibson?
Clifford.
Oh, Clifford.
It's as you're going towards Elk Mountain, you turn right on Tinker Creek Road, go to the end, there's a T. Make a left, and it's the first house on the right. It's behind her house. And you can see these stones are just not...
Dale, are you going by the date on the stones to know that they're Civil War vets? Is there a marker on them?
Well, that Burdick one was a government stone. D.B. Burdick has companies.
Yeah, just look down there.
Yeah, you can tell. This one here had a guy in it. I mean, half of you can't read. I didn't bring rubber paper. But it said killed, and I thought he was killed in the war. And I don't remember his name now. But he was killed by lightning. Which one it was, but he was killed by, no. It's one on the, it said right on the stone, yeah, I thought, there's something. Yeah, it did. Killed by lightning. It's been so long since I've been in there. I don't know what word it is. Clarence.
And that's a Burdick Cemetery too?
That's a Burdick Cemetery, yeah. I found out about it right through when I hit that one there. It was killed by lightning.
That's Burdock and Burdick are the same thing?
They're Burdick, they're all Burdicks, I think. I found out one odd stone there. I have to show you this. I never saw anything like it. I don't want to say it until I show it to you. But
What was
you
that
know,
stone you just passed?
which one?
The one before that, the front.
Lion.
No,
Before this,
yeah, before that. That,
lion.
oh, that one, okay.
Yeah, and there's one on top of it. I mean, nobody's. They're so heavy you can't lift them stones. And I didn't even try to do that. I'm just trying to find out what. I forget what it is. It does say right on it, killed by lightning. I had to dig it up. And
Yeah, some of that one by, in a dam.
which one was that?
I don't know what it is, the one by, down by, near the dam.
Yeah, I don't
Across the
know.
street from that lady's house.
Dale,
That
we
might
have a
be-
request. Could you repeat the Clifford Cemetery and the other one on the Milford, Owego Turnpike? The lady is interested in Clifford.
Which one on the Owego Turnpike?
Across from the Clifford Cemetery on the left on Route 106.
That would be the Stevens Cemetery.
Stevens Cemetery.
I have that.
You know that, man?
Yeah, hold on, right here. It's on Route 106, there it is there.
Just outside of Clifford.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side as you're going out. And there's some veterans in there. That one there, I mean, she died 1842, and that tree is growing right around that stone.
Wow,
So-
look
Yeah.
at that.
But somebody does take care of it. It's hold down, and they
Well,
put
at
flags.
least it won't fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the moss is starting to eat them, and they're just, a lot of them, like I said, if I didn't take pictures of them, they would, they'd be, this one here, Chester was with me, we found this one. This was a lion cemetery, lion family, and a woman gave us directions up there. It's deep in the woods, found that road, and it's right up in this bunch of trees.
Amazing.
We went up in there, and on the way out, she came by with her quad, wanted to give us a ride. We wanted to walk it. Those stones are, I mean, the moss is eating them. They're made out of the white sandstone, a lot of them. But the name is Lyon. There's Mahala Sampson, wife of Jacob Lyon, born, has her birthday on November 14, 1797, died August 5, 1887, in Hannah-See, their daughter. So, but nobody takes care of that. It's just,
Are these all private family cemeteries?
all private family cemeteries, yes. And that one there, 1886. And you can actually get to this one from the road. We didn't know about it. She said, you won't unless you know your way there, you'll get lost. So she took us to the long way there. There's one on Route 92, the Bell Cemetery. I didn't get the coordinates on that yet. Next time I'm up there. It's up on the hill right on 92. You can't miss it. There's a few stones there. I have the database. They put a new stone in it. They were born in the 1700s. The name is Bell, or actually it's Sarah Bell.
Excuse me, did you, just for people in benefit, did you say these are all like family-owned
Most of them,
cemeteries?
yeah. I've done some bigger ones. There's a Lyon Family Cemetery for sure. There's a Lyon Public Cemetery up there not far. I did that too.
Because you keep mentioning a name, and I'm wondering, because they used to have like a plot of land.
If I don't know the name, I'll just call whatever the most common name is in there unless I can find out, until I find out what the right name is.
And are you particularly looking for a Civil War?
No, not necessarily. I'm looking for these small ones that people are looking for, and there's no other record other than what's on the stone. And a lot of these stones, sandstone brings out fast. It's easy to work with, but they didn't know how long it would last, and it's just they're falling apart. The Elkdale Cemetery, that's taken care of by Dr. Powell. I did find some pictures here of people, and these are the ones. Here it is here. It's taken care of. He takes care of it. The old church is next to it. That's what's left. It's abandoned a long time.
What cemetery is that?
It's the Elkdale Cemetery. It's up on
Yeah, I
the
walked
mountain.
that one.
And it's, even the moss is eating the great granite. The great granite will last longer than the stone. But a lot of them are laying down.
I've been there.
And some of the people here, let's see, like Phoebe Halstead. Right there, there's her stone, and there's her picture right there. So, here's her right there. There's a cemetery over now, let's see, we're in Wayne County, let's get back over to Lackawanna. The White Family Cemetery. We thought it was in Scott Township, and it's not. It's on Fairview Road. And I also have some picture. Here's Eber White. It's a tiny private cemetery. And there's Eber White and his first wife, Sarah. They're both buried right there, so I didn't get
Is
that.
that Fairview?
It's on Fairview Road. I sat at their table for 2 hours. 2 hours with Chester, and then 2 hours another time myself scanning pictures out of the table. She was very, very open
So
to
off
looking in there.
Fairview, you went hunting
Yes.
beyond.
Now behind that, there's she's buried in there. Behind that cemetery, there's a development up there. Applewood Acres.
Yeah, Applewood Acres, yes.
There was a stone there from a girl who died 18, 46, 12 years old. Nobody knows where they took it out, but they put the homes there. And she was taken out of it. This family has database. It's not on here. I have it in another folder. But they told about basic. Well, there was one stone. Maybe those other
There's
people.
only one left.
Yeah. And these stones are in very, very bad shape, something like that. But that's up there. There's also a Hall Cemetery up there, which is in, Chester was at this one with me. And it's on Layton Road. I mean, it is bad.
Lake Road where?
Layton Road. It's,
Layton Road in Chinchilla.
Yeah, and there's a stone. There's a guy in there, there's a stone with a flag on it, and I was wondering who's buried in it. Well, I found it, so I asked him, Isaac Hobbs, Old Hall Cemetery, South Acton. And it was in poor condition in 1935, here when they inspected it. And there's this flag right there. No stone for him, it's gone. I mean, look at this. That's the cemetery there, there's a gate going in. Nobody's been in there in 100 years. There's Lake Road
Right.
down towards South.
Dale, suggestion they got a good little story for the Ryerson.
What's that?
Good story.
Yeah.
Not told that.
Well,
So coming down from Layton Road, there be like Corky's,
yes, before
and it's
it's
down
down.
towards.
It's before you get to that Methodist church on the right. Right before that, a lot before. Right in a second.
I guess it is because I travel these roads, I work it's been a long
Now,
time.
there's also up in that area, there's a Greenbrier, you know, and I might have renamed it, I forgot. I mean, I have 272 cemeteries. It was on Greenbrier Avenue up there across something, and I don't see it here because I renamed it, and I can't keep track of that many of them. Let's see. There's one. People know where the Windsor Inn is up in Sherman? Right behind, if you're up there looking at the park lot, turn back towards the house behind, you see a stone in the yard there. There's a guy buried there, and his name is Richard Pritchard. And I pulled that, my wife said, that's a Halloween stone, that's a funny guy. I found his obituary. There was a Richard Pritchard, died 1884, December 31st. There it is. And there it is there. Richard Pritchard died suddenly Tuesday. He had been poor health for some things. That was very unexpected. That's, there's a stone right there, 1884. I took that in the winter. There's the coordinates.
So it's not a Halloween prank, it's a real stone.
That's right now. Up in
He was in
that,
poor health for many years, but he died unexpectedly. I just like that on this.
Well, he has some clever ones there. The one where the lady said, I told you I was sick.
I'll show them that. Who's saying they're from Greenfield? You know where Shields Road is?
Where?
Shields Road.
Shields?
If you come down from the Greenfield Society, make the first left on Shields Road.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
cemetery in there, I'll show you. It's the Ball family cemetery.
Yeah, isn't it Shoes?
Shoes Road, right, yeah, you're right, my mistake.
Shoes.
It's in this field, it's out in these bunch of trees out there, right there. And I went in, there's the opening, and there's the stones, nobody's touched that in a long time.
Who's there?
There's a couple of stones, the name is Ball. Alexander Ball, Martha, his wife Martha Ryder. There's another Ball right there, there's one there, Ball. Mary, I think, Mary Ball.
What's the dates on this stuff?
1800, so that looks like it's 1898. That one's 1872.
Have you ever cross-checked it against the Beers map, the 1873 Beers map that
No,
shows
that-
where everybody lived?
That's what the next. Well, yeah. No, I think I did on that. Yeah, there was a Ball family up there, the same as that old Lee cemetery that I showed you. It had no stones. There was a Lee family living right there. And I went up to the golf course. My cousins, the Petrelacs, own it, and he said, "Look, he pointed right out there. He said, in that clump of trees out there, that's the cemetery." So I went up, and this one here is up in Iron. I did this. I just got permission from the borough. There's a lot of veterans.
Right, that's the one along the road.
Yeah, it's right on the road, and we have that up online
Across the
too.
street where the old Sherman's used to be.
Yeah, you can see that online too.
All Welch.
All
That's
Welch.
where it got some old sugar.
The old shrooms, yeah. But it's on our site, it's on the internet.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We have a lot of people coming from out of town and use this because they want to put a tombstone on great-grandfather's burial site. And this way, at least they can find out where he's buried.
Taylor right here, I gotta get the coordinates on. This is the one in Taylor, right on the main street by that little church. I did that, and there's a guy in here named Harley Hughes, and he was a bodyguard, I think, for Washington. Now,
Yeah, that's been
it's not-
discounted though.
We have one that's proven. This one they think, I mean, he was definitely in the war, but they don't know if
Don't
he
know
was
that's
an
proven.
actual
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is not documented.
Right, it's not that, they don't, but he was in the war.
Yeah.
There's this stone right there, the actual. But there's a lot of fences. This is, has the most fences in it that I've ever seen. A lot of private fences for them. And I found out why. There was a farm nearby, and they had goats. And if you put flowers on your ancestors' grave, you want to go eat them, you gotta put a fence. So now there's no farms within miles. That's right on Taylor.
Do you have any larger cemeteries in there?
The German one, the biggest one I've done is the Maplewood up in Carbondale. That has,
10,000.
Oh, my word.
count for you right now. That has 1,624 stones.
Can you look for a name for me?
Yeah, what name?
Dietrich Joseph.
Dietrich with a D, let's see.
In what, Maplewood? We have the Maplewood Cemetery on the computer up
Do
there.
ya? I can't find his stone.
It's told me not be there, but we can tell you where he's buried. Or he's buried there, rather.
Oh, I know he is.
10,700 interments. Going on the road to Forest City out of Carbondale. You come into Carbondale and make the left turn, go towards Forest City, and it's on the left there. You'd have to go down a block to get there.
I I don't see any Dietrichs here.
Yeah, it would be D-I-E.
D-I-E, okay.
We'll look it up on the computer later.
Okay.
Hold on, let me go to the D-I's. The D-I-E, or Deutsch, Dixon. No.
No, they don't have a stone there. I'm almost positive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute, hold on, here we are, Dietrich. Oh, it's a Dietrich family, hold on, we do.
Okay, that's my great-grandfather. That one I found, but his father's supposed to be there too.
And then I found this here, Joseph, he was in the Civil War.
Right. That's the stone I was looking for.
And then there's one right there. And on the Dilts. Yeah, there's two Dietrichs there, this one and that one there.
They only have Kiefer there?
K-I-E.
Yeah. Just straight.
I normally don't do them this big, but let's see. Yeah, there is some Kiefers.
The odd shape was, no,
Kiefer right there.
no,
Joseph.
yes.
That's stone.
Right,
Yeah.
to the rock.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Well, hold on, I want to see amazing. I'll show you that.
That's an ingenious family that
I'll
did
show you
that.
something. Okay, we're back down in Missouri. This one here.
It's gonna last a million years.
I've never seen anything before or since this. And if anyone has seen something like it, tell me. What's that say on top?
See, I told you I was sick.
I never saw that before or since. That's it. Yeah.
Where's that, Bill?
Yeah.
That's in the Mountain View Cemetery down in Lancaster Township. Around that.
She's young.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, I know, someone had a sense of humor there, whoever buried it there.
There is one in Clifford supposedly. I haven't seen it myself, but I saw online that it says stabbed by,
Really?
and the name of the guy that did it, who when I did some more checking turned out to be your son-in-law.
I have Harding's, or Cooper's, this is a real old one. It's in Port Blanchard, and I even got the database from John Ziak on this. And look at the date on this now. This was 1921, and it was in bad shape then. It says right here, the graveyard is almost obliterated by weeds and general debris of time and neglect in 1921. Well, here it is, 2009. It's in worse shape than that now. But the scouts have been. This almost looks like it had a photo. I mean, it couldn't have, because she died in 1809, so I mean, there was no cameras back then, so I don't know what was there. It was some kind of a plaque or something.
She died the year Lincoln was born.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So, I mean, it was a tough one to get into. And I was from here to the edge of the road away from it. I had asked her, was that going in? Since then,
snake?
I'll show you one that I did run into snakes. And bees, that will be the
This sounds really interesting to get into.
rants.
I'll take the poison
Still
out.
not the one. Rants, yeah.
Rest for winter.
Figures up my house.
This one here, I ran into a big snake. Big as my wrist and about 7 feet long. I took, what was worse, now I went by this little church, and the church is right out front. And it's open, you know, on a couple hours a week, and on the other side, and I heard a noise, and I thought, well, it's probably air conditioning. I'm from here to the wall, looking at these old stones, and I looked up. It wasn't air conditioning, it was bees. It was a swarm on the side of the wall, right here. This whole area was all swarmed, and I best I could to the other side. They didn't see me. Then I came back, and the last stone was from here to the wall. I just stood there like that with the camera. I don't want to upset the bees, but it's a German cemetery, and not a whole lot of people take care of it.
You know, there's, across the driveway to that, there's another
Yes, there
cemetery.
is. Right here, there is a, it's on the poor, yes. And the guy's name is George Hartman. He's a Civil War veteran, and I have his records here too. They're Ransom Poor Farm Grounds.
I saw somebody, some record somewhere that said there was a lot more buried in there, they just didn't want it.
Really? Oh, that could be
There really
true.
was
Yeah,
such a
where's that
thing
at
as-
now?
That's in Ransom.
There really is something called a poor farm.
It wasn't Ransom, that was it's a home, 1972. It's gone now.
Just
But there's a
burned down.
stone. The home was over that way
But
from where
called
that arrow was.
Hillside Farm then?
What's that?
Hillside Farm?
No, it was Ransom. Ransom home was called for old age.
Something.
Hillside home.
Yeah. But now,
That's like the same thing.
Yeah, that's where it is now. It started down there and moved, and moved.
well, you know, it's back there behind us now, behind that tombstone. You go back further in the field, and here's the church now where that other cemetery is. The veterans right there, the truck's right there, and there's a little burial there, and you walk up close, it's a baby, it just says Tinkle Pop on that stone, on that cross, it's an iron cross. There's no other, nothing there, but it's a burial site.
If you turn 180 degrees around, and look down across the railroad tracks, there's a cemetery down there.
Yes, I have that too.
Can't remember the name of it.
I think we call it the Harding Cemetery, let's see.
Dale can smell a cemetery.
Yeah,
They're not doing it right if you can smell it.
He can smell them though. He finds things that people don't even know exist.
well, I don't
He
know
told a
that
lady
far,
she had
Joe, but
a
I-
cemetery in her backyard. She's like, I do not. I've been living here for 50 years. He took it back there and sure enough there was a tombstone.
I'm not sure what the name, but we do have that one down there. I forget what the name is there on that. But it,
When you were going through these things, I thought I saw a cemetery from Bodle.
for what?
Bodle, B-O-D-L-E.
Oh, he might have.
That would have been
been
in Zurn, I think.
Zurn County, Bodle.
Yeah, right there, Village
Oh, yeah, the
Road.
Bodle Cemetery Village, okay. This here, here's the view of it, it's on Village Road, Franklin Township. It's old, I was
I
driving
don't
down.
think that's the name of it.
Okay, it probably isn't, but the Bodle's in
There's
there.
a lot of Bodles in
Yeah,
there.
a lot of Bodle's in there.
Okay, a little story about that. There used to be a church right next to it.
Really? There's
That's
a
why
barn
the
there.
cemetery is there.
Right, yeah.
And they moved the church down the road about 150 feet down toward, and redid it.
Yeah,
But that's how the cemetery
Yeah.
started, next to the church.
it's right over the borderline of Luzerne County, right from Wayne County, or Wyoming into Luzerne. And it's not really taken care of well, the stones are, they're wearing out. I mean, they're made out of white sandstone at all times. They have some great granite which will last there, but the Bodles, that one of them, the Bodle 1863.
How about the one up by the firehouse?
What's the name of that one?
Okay, Village Road comes down into Centermore, or Orange. If you turn right and you go up, there's a fire department there.
Yes.
There's a cemetery.
Yeah, what was the name of that one?
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, and I get out, remember, I did that one.
Did that one, okay.
The Stair Family Cemetery, down the Stairville Road going over. It's mostly stairs in there. In Stairville Road, there's a lot of stairs. Here's a view of the cemetery. Down Brewer Road. Stairs. Stairville.
Right, I never think of it.
I found
Is that
one.
the Vandermark or is that the
No,
Steele?
it's McDonald's Road.
That one on that road there.
Because there's actually a Steerville that's across from the church, up sort of up on a hill.
Yeah.
But if you don't cross the road, you turn the right and go down, there's a Vandermark cemetery.
That'd be in the, Minnesota.
I don't want to call it church.
No.
No.
That's not my
What do you call it?
This is near a golf
I don't
course,
want to
this
call
one.
it chunky. Yeah, what do you call it?
Yeah, it is, there's a golf course on this side.
Mine was.
Yeah.
Mine was.
There's two sections of that.
Let's go to sleep. Drinking some.
I did that, a year ago.
These old sandstones, the names are wearing out.
No idea.
Can they be re-engraved?
Same story.
Could you read it? Read
Yeah,
If you could read
yeah,
it.
if you could read it.
Probably, but, and then we're all in
It would
it.
be my great uncle.
Yeah.
And he's in a cemetery, but he's in the Dunmore Cemetery.
Oh, really?
And I was upset because there was no flag there. And there were flags, everybody else had flags, and the symbol was still there from World War I,
Yeah.
but there was no flag in it, and the name is wearing
Oh,
out.
yeah. I don't know.
But the rest of this family clock, there's like 12 of them, my husband and I'm the only one that
Really?
takes care of it. And I was wondering if they could be re-engraved and how you go about making sure they put a
You can ask
flag on it.
a guy like Presidential, he does that stuff, but I don't know if you want, because
Oh, okay.
the stone may just
Yeah.
disintegrate right away. just,
I understand.
but most of these are made out of that. Now,
I'm trying to think of the,
I found some made out of brown sandstone, they're even older, they're the ones with the heads carved in them. And Stoddard, there's a Stoddard Cemetery down in Stoddardsville, I did one, there's a guy on here, and, what's his name, Blue? He was one of the few ones that, I shouldn't mention his name so I can remember. He lived to be 100, it's a guy at age 100. There's tanner shells down there, and they're made out of that brown stone. A lot of it. The guy that owns this, his name is John Butler, and he's in his 80s, and he has a database. He's going to let me come down and copy.
Hey, Tom, the one with the weeping willow, what does that mean on the tombstone? Do you remember?
That's a symbol of sadness.
Status?
Sadness.
Oh, sadness.
Yes,
Oh.
a loss.
Well, we did one, Bob was with me in this, the Bova plot, the Shepton disaster down there in
Shepton, yeah.
Pennsylvania. When those guys got trapped, there was 3 of them, they got 2 out, and 1 died. Well, we found the stone, had to walk way down here, and it was cold right about that day. It was freezing, but there's a little fence around there, is Louis Bova, and he's somewhere under there, they never got him out. There's the pipe that they drove, they dropped food down in flashlights, and they eventually drilled a hole, I think it was 18 inches wide, and they were going to send a canister down, it was too small, so they sent a strap down, and with grease, and let them grease themselves up with the strap on, and go up like this to an 18-inch hole. But that's where they sent the...
There was two people in one chamber, and he was in the other one.
Yeah, right.
14 days down in there, 7 days, and all like they're hallucinating, they're seeing things, because your eyes started to...
And they just,
It was in the
they
paper.
just figured he was dead, so they placed a monument on it and forgot about him.
Yeah, that guy Joel.
That's a shame.
was there for a while. But that was down there. And I went up to Bradford County, and I did one up there. There was a Wilcox Cemetery. I never saw one like this, where there's a mine underneath it. Wait, we got the wrong one.
Where, Bradford?
Yes. This one here, the Barclay Cemetery. There was a guy working there, and he said, "Go knock yourself out, take." There was a lot of graves there. I did find this one on Finding Grave, but they only had 9 stones on it. I went up and photographed 139 stones, so there's a lot of missing information. But they got caretakers said, walk around and see depressions in there. They mined underneath the cemetery. So what they mined out here in Bradford, the tomb is full, he said. And maybe some bodies went down. It was only 20 feet below. They went in, and I have pictures there of the some of the depressions. They try to take care of it. Chester, he said they can't get help, just like us. They can't find people who want to help.
Where in Bradford County is it?
This is not far from, well, this is Franklin Township. There's the depressions right there. All that is sinkholes where the mines went in, and they just dropped right down.
You mean it was all undermined?
It was undermined illegally, he said. There was a church there, a Catholic church, and I said, is there any records? He said, no, the records weren't, whoever had them destroyed them or lost them. They don't know any. The only records are there on in the cemetery. There's pictures there. They have stuff there. People who live there. There's an old village like Edgerton, abandoned up there, all foundations. Nobody lives there anymore. And that was the cemetery. But
The Washburn Street Cemetery is also undermined. That's right.
oh, is it really? No. So the stones are
there's a
bad.
cemetery down in Plymouth that they mined under and they dug everybody up and moved them out into Chase.
Is it really? Wow.
Washburn, I was talking to an old miner, and he said they used to just, every morning they have to have somebody go by and push the coffins to the side of the tunnels. Just drop down from the top, they were so close to it.
The old Beck Cemetery and Route 611 in Mount Bethel, PA. There's a picture.
You were saying some of them are.
Yeah, and the head carved. They're old. This is 1823. It's a long time ago. And they carved heads in like that. But there's a Revolutionary Road. It's in German. It's written in German, and looks like he died 1812.
Weren't some of the tombstones in the Cooper Blanchard Cemetery, Joe?
Hoover Blanchard Cemetery is down in,
Or some of them in German.
German descent.
Oh, yeah.
He's saying of German descent, not, it's
German right there. It looks like they're born and died in the cemetery.
I just think it's way out there thinking it's a German.
And the moss is having a field day on top of that stone, so eventually we'll eat that away too.
Have you done the old Moraine Cemetery in Newfoundland?
Yeah. I think I did. What county is that now?
Wayne?
No, that's the big one up there. It's before you get to the end. Yeah.
The old one, the one goes right.
And some of them are in Pike County too. On the other side of the creek is Pike County.
Right on the border.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Small cemetery. There's two Moraines.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here. And I can't think of it. Well, the Sherwood Cemetery is very small. It's not taken care of. This one here is, there's a sign that, that is up in New Pleasant Mountain. There's a road coming out from it. There it is.
Well, the one Edie was talking about is coming outside of Newfoundland, going towards Tobyhanna. It's in Newfoundland, yes.
This one here, I just did recently, it had a lot of history. It's old. It's the Sterling Cemetery, around 296 in Sterling. And,
Right.
there's an awful lot of history there. I belong to that society up there, yeah, no problem.
1832 was the first burial.
Let's see, what else?
Have you done the calendar cemetery in Peckham?
Yes, I think I have. Let me see. Calendar plot. Right here.
It's the calendar section.
It's in the Union Cemetery.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
I think,
one.
yeah. And here's what I found in there. I found records of this guy here, Union Cemetery calendar plot. He was a Civil War veteran. And that guy there, J.M. Bonner.
Did you look up one for me?
Sure.
Waters, William Waters?
Right here.
Well, my,
There it is.
that's
There's his records right there, William Waters. The stone is a white sandstone, he has a flag, and
it was in the.
Civil War, yeah.
Are there any calendars left in that cemetery?
Well, let's see right there. No, there aren't. Let's see.
I read somewhere that they were moved to various other cemeteries.
Yes, they were. Samuel Callender was moved up to Scott Valley Cemetery. He's the one who's known to be a bodyguard for Washington. He's up there. He was one. His wife had a return. We don't know why, but he's not in the account of
And then they built the other one next to it.
All these stones are facing a different direction, and the new ones are facing like parallel with the road. You can tell that's the older section, so I went in and did that.
Did you look up another one for me?
Sure, yeah.
Pettigrew.
In that same cemetery?
Yes.
No, I don't see it. I mean, I could have missed it, I'm sure.
No, it wouldn't necessarily be from the Civil War. It's just, it is a big tombstone.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay.
Unless I thought it was part of the other cemetery.
You may have.
It's very possible. There's a Brickman Cemetery, Chester knows where that one is. And I have a database of that too. That's in those woods up there, up in Scott Township. And
That's
those-
on Muncie Road.
That's on Muncie Road, yes. And we went in the long way, and I found a shortcut to get in. People said, just come along the road, watch the yard. There's one Britain left in Jersey, sends his family $100 a year to take care of the ground. The Britons in there. They're for working now. And the moss is tearing those stones apart.
Black Lawn County, John Warren Cemetery.
If you're going,
Which, pardon?
Warren Baker, Black Lawn,
Yeah, I have that.
Madison Township.
Warren Baker, what name are you looking for?
I just want to know if you did cemetery.
I did it, yeah. It's, right.
I did too.
Oh, wait, Moscow, right?
Madison Township.
Madison, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, I found that by accident. And I carried, it's this camera here. It's done maybe 15,000 stones out of the 18. And then I have the TomTom GPS. And I just get the coordinates there and I went in. And haven't had the battery die yet. It flashed like it was going, but
There, you buy your next camera, it's got the GPS right in it, puts it right on the film.
yeah, I'm gonna, don't worry, I'll get all of that.
How about the Brookside Cemetery in Lackawanna County?
I may have that. Let me see. Yes, I do have
Sounds
that.
familiar.
I believe I have that one online. Yeah,
That's in
it's on-
Childs, yeah.
Yeah, now here's,
We have that in our database too.
yeah, Isaac Baker, and here's his records. Both sides. They had the prisoners up there working on this.
Yeah.
You know,
How about Jackson in Brookside?
Jackson. Okay, let's see. Yes, we have a Violet Jackson.
That's my grandmother.
Is it really? She was a Decker, right?
That was my grandmother,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
And my grandfather.
It's Jackson. Jadwin I had.
No.
I didn't see the
Jadwin.
Jadwin, yeah. In alphabetical order. The computer does that. Because I always, the hardest part is actually going home and putting them on the computer because then you got to label them. Last name, comma, first name.
Oh, boy.
I'm a three-finger typer, so I mean, that takes a little while.
Have you ever heard of the Panther Hill Cemetery?
What,
There's a Lackawanna,
no,
down around Springbrook Township.
no, I haven't.
What's the name of it?
Okay.
Springbrook.
Panther, what you said, sir?
Panther Hill.
Never heard of it.
Supposedly, the people that are buried in it died in the flu epidemic.
Right.
This,
Yeah.
this is the Last Chance Cemetery. Now, that's an odd name for a cemetery, Last Chance. It's up there in College Avenue, Factory. It is, it's Last Chance. I can show you one that has a better name than that. There's my truck, yeah, that's up by Factory.
I remember they were gonna clean that up one time and they were afraid of doing it because it was so hill and steepy and there were
It's real
snakes.
steep, it's tough rock.
Yeah.
Christy Matheson has ancestors in there. And we did find one cemetery that has his aunt in it, the Reynolds Cemetery, and that was, Chester's been there, that's a job and a half into that cemetery.
Which one?
Yeah, Reynolds. That's the one, yeah,
How
right
about the
here.
Hubbard?
Well,
That's
this,
the worst job.
we went in here, this Reynolds Cemetery is real bad, hard to get to. And there it is, there's Howard Auto took us in. And there's a wall, there's the stones laying down. Nobody takes care of that. It was a long walk. Then we had to take tinfoil, I didn't have rolling paper in, and rub some of the stones. They're old. And it was,
Is that the one where Dr. Hensley is buried, that the cars have to get to?
that was extremely, yeah, the whole Hinsey Cemetery, yeah. That,
Do you have a Seaman Cemetery?
I
Show that before.
I mean, this guy, Chester.
You're in the movies, Chester.
That was a tough one to get to.
That's
But
the
let you go down Route 107, right where it meets 81 Park Garden. Walk up the ramp like you're going to walk down the highway. As soon as it meets the highway, turn right, go over the embankment. Now you got a deer fence. You got to push that down and climb over that. Once you get over that, you got a 6-foot trench you got to go through. Then once you get through that, you got 100 yards of woods to go through. Then you're there. It's simple.
What's the name of that one?
It's actually, I was told, the Smith Cemetery. That's the oldest 1830. We call it Old Hinsey because the elephant's Old Hinsey's buried there. He doesn't have a stone. And I don't know if that's one of the kids that a woman gave me.
Where's that from?
That woman up in Scott gave me the picture. We couldn't find that stone, so I used that picture as
It
part
doesn't
of
look familiar at all.
Irina.
She's really good looking.
So there are other stones. I mean, some of them.
Which one is Dr. Hensley stolen?
He doesn't have a stone, I don't think.
That's one I saw.
There's hands that were on that stone. What's the significance of that?
What's that?
The
what?
hands?
Tom, cross hands.
Husband, wife, joined together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
We got all the answers here. We got the people who know the
I'll show you
answers.
guys, last chance. I'll show you the name of a cemetery that, this is the oddest name I've seen on a cemetery. I know it's not here, but, look at this name. Little Hope Cemetery. That is in Edmiston County, Kentucky, and it's very old. It's a Little Hope Cemetery. I had to show you that
I
because...
wonder if the first person buried was a baby named Hope.
Dale,
Yeah.
one of the most famous early developers, Henry Brinker. You have the Brinker Cemetery, do you not?
I think, yeah, that's Lackawanna County, right?
Cemetery. Matt's
I don't think it's called that, though. What's the name of that cemetery, Tom?
No, it's not Madison Township, no. But, what's it so Clifton.
Yeah, Clifton.
That would be it there, yes.
Clifton was the son of Henry Drinker. So
Right.
they named it after him, Clifton Township.
Long
Famous man.
First man to put a bridge over the Lackawanna.
Father of 17 children.
How many wives?
And he had the,
Yeah, he kept wearing wives.
And this is actual stone there. It's wearing out, so they put in this stone here in 1976. But it's actually stone is the white sandstone.
he built the first turnpike from the Delaware River to New York State.
Do you have the Stevens Cemetery?
Yes, I do. The one up in Clifford?
Which?
No, over in,
There's a dozen Stevens cemeteries.
no,
Yeah, there is.
the one that,
Oh, it's in the Primitive Methodist, the Stevens plot up in Dixon City.
No, that's where Stevens is buried, but she's talking about a Stevens
in
cemetery.
Nicholson.
Dale, is that not Clifton Beach Road?
Yes. Yes. I don't know what I call the road there, Sandy Banks Road. It's on the
Sandy Banks Road?
Right now it is Sandy Banks Road.
Henry's home is still there. It's owned by Colin Hill.
Township Cemetery, Solomon. He was in the war there, died in 1903, 1834. This is, I started in '05, summer of '05, so I mean, I'm just, there is a guy in Wisconsin who has photographed 250,000 tombstones, and I called him, and I got his wife, and I said, I'm doing the same thing you are. How many counties? She said, every county in Wisconsin they've done. I said, how many cemeteries? She said, 1,100 cemeteries. So, I'm just a beginner, basically.
Dale, we have a question about Edgerton.
Okay,
The town, was anybody ever buried there?
negative. They
Do you
died
have
there.
pictures there?
There was a drowning there was a shooting there was a Molly McGuire humming there, but they weren't buried there. It's,
Who's Molly McGuire?
we have to
Pick up my mother.
Huh?
Pick up my nose.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom.
Let's see, Wallsville Cemetery, this is another old one up there in Fleetville, and, it's not taken care of too well. I let the grass grow in there. It's not far from Lackawanna State Park, but the stones there's some white sandstone and some gray granite.
Well, there's one up on the hill there where the shack is, where the guards or whatever it is up there by Wallsville.
Yeah, I think there is yeah.
There's only about a dozen graves in there.
Yeah, there's one, Westcott Cemetery. This one here is, bad shape. I mean, there it is. In fact, we asked permission, Howard Otto, myself, and the guy said, yeah, he said, it's about a mile in, be careful, we've seen a mountain lion up there. So I'm walking with my game wagon, we have no weapons, and he's 75 years old, we're talking loud to scare off any potential mountain lions. We got up there, and there's a cemetery, it's just not, it's not taken care of, nothing grows in there. There's, you know, there's some poison ivy, but there's the stones, and there's the bridge, there's the walkway. There's the, a little database there. There was one, I think one suicide there.
How did you get to that?
How did we get to that one? A guy named Howard Otto, he called me when I was out in New York City. He said, I understand you search cemeteries. I had a bunch of them in Benton Township. So when I came back in, he gave me a 2-hour tour on a Sunday afternoon. There's one over there. I went back the next week, did 13 cemeteries. And there's one stone in here.
Where's that located, Dean? Dale?
It's in Benton. It's in Benton Township. It's way up. You had to walk across this bridge, and it's probably up in that area there. It's far, but that one stone right here, friends and physicians could not save her. It's written in a database. It's here. Friends and physicians could not save my body from the grave, nor the grave could find me. When Jesus calls me, I shall appear. Now you don't see stuff written like that either on songs.
No, I was in one in an abandoned cemetery out in Cambria County near a ghost town where a friend of mine was born. His family first settled there.
Really?
And I was fascinated with this. I was walking all around it, and the next year when we went back, the Boy Scouts had cleaned it up, but you had to step over groundhog holes and what have you, and I was taking pictures of some of the stones that were in English. I mean, they were mostly in the Rusin language.
Right.
They were people from the Transcarpathian area, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this one stone, this little girl, it said "Gone but not forgotten," and I just never. I took a picture of that stone, and I've never forgotten that.
I've seen that so much there. My wife, my darling wife, you departed so soon. I have 18,000 stones. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but I did take one like that. There was one, a Civil War veteran up on the cemetery, Route 92, and he had told where he fought. He was killed at 23 or 24 years old. What battle he was in. He was killed on a charge, and he served his country without regret. You know, he ran. Oh, it was really. They love him. You could tell, and it's written in the white sands, and it's wearing away. And I did that one. That was a bigger one, but it had a lot of history in it, so I did it.
Now this one had some gorgeous old Russian type style.
Oh, did it really?
Headstones.
Well, I had one that I read Russian. I can read this. I did
Can you?
Yeah, the German cemetery, Russian Orthodox.
Yeah, I was there today.
The one up in German?
Yes. Yeah, a gentleman I met in German showed me where it was.
That's actually Mayfield though, right?
Mayfield.
Yeah.
Mayfield.
Now, here's this guy here, Peter Bernowski. Mom said, before she passed away, she told me a lot of stories. She said she dated him years back. And we found a little thing there. He wrote her a note.
Oh.
Best wishes for the happiest of all birthdays of Miss Alice Cummings when she lived on 113 Cemetery Street. And there's his grave right there. She was born 25 years
In this
old.
cemetery where I was, I almost stepped in bear defecation. I thought it looked like chewing tobacco.
Oh, in German?
No, this was out in Cambria County.
Because there is some Cyrillic in here. I had it, but I could translate. There was no problem. There was, which one's like this one? Fedocha. That's easy for me to read.
What is it?
Fedocha.
William Fedocha.
I don't know what those names mean, but...
Where is that one, Dale, in German?
Yeah, it's German.
We're just too pressed, that's all.
Up on that hill, yeah.
Fedorchak.
There it is. Okay.
There it is in Cyrillic. But there was a bunch of them up there like that. Mishak.
The boy killed by lightning, Dale?
Oh, yeah, he's up here. Maniac. Hold on. This guy, it doesn't say on the stone. There's a boy here killed by lightning and Maniac right here. And they didn't put it on the stone, but my father remembered the boy. He, 1918, 1930, there was a storm. My father was 7, and the bigger kids were playing ball. And everybody ran for the porches. This bunch ran underneath a tree. And the rain and lightning came down, and two boys were leaning up against the fence. Lightning hit it, and it was barbed wire, and it came down, and it killed the one boy. The other boy knocked him out, and the doctors tried for an hour. They finally got him through, but his eyes were real bad after that. His eyes for life. He had glasses. And, you knew him, Tom. What was it?
One was Cunningham.
Yeah, that was him, Cunningham. And he lived through it. The other guy, Michael, didn't in 1930. And my father remembered that storm very well. He said it was a battle like mine. Rishak. So I had to transmit some of them up there.
Where is this one?
That's the German cemetery. I did that because I belonged to that
Well,
society.
whereabouts is it?
Up by Ellsworth Park in Germany.
Do you have the St. Michael's in Northwood?
No. I have the permanent Methodist in Dixon City. I did that because the Stevens plot was down there. And This here is a cemetery within the cemetery. He's a Revolutionary War veteran. And there's old stones. You see the heads carved like that's brown sandstone. And generally if you got a good batch, it lasted a long time. He died there in 1824. You can still read it quite easily. If you get a bad batch of stone, it peels in layers. And because it was once about a creek. But that one there is still in pretty good
That's the
shape.
primitive Methodist cemetery?
It's in the Stevens Plot, which is actually within that cemetery. That cemetery starts 1870, I think, and this is a lot of
Did you
1824.
do anybody else in there? Any, Thomas Ely?
In the permanent records?
Yeah.
I have that. I think I,
Sachs, yeah, S-A-X-E.
what name was that?
Thomas Ely, E-L-Y.
E-L-Y? I have
Yeah, leeway there.
And Charles,
I have Ely.
James, John, Edward.
Yeah, there's Thomas Ely right there in the middle.
Do you have any Civil War records for him? He was a Civil War.
No, I didn't
soldier.
get them yet. See, I'm
He's my great-great-grandfather.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Ely's there.
Oh, yeah. Is there any way I can
Oh, right
get
there,
those
there's John
records?
Ely with that Civil War veteran there.
Yes.
I don't know, let's see if I have his records or not.
New York?
And archives and full blown.
Pennsylvania Volunteers.
Yeah, he was in there. But I don't have his record yet. I mean, it all takes time. I'll have
The 187 Pennsylvania was what we had that one guy doing the Civil War presentation. He was one of the 187.
this one here.
The
now is
Paul Maddox.
Roble Farm.
I don't have any.
You guys ever know what's go to Roble's Farm? This little cemetery's up near there. And it's been there's some Clarks in there. Colvins. That's what it looks like. So you can see the movie in there. By Roble Street Farm. And there's Roble's.
If anybody was holding back on their questions, I suggest you get them out because we're going to be wrapping this up within the next 5 or 6 minutes.
How about this one
Question
here?
back here.
One stone in front of the guy's yard up by Robles Farm, and I stopped, he was cutting grass, and I said, is that a natural barrier? He said, yeah, he said, it was, when we bought the property, it was there. Hannah, wife of Welcome Brown. It's in 1876, just one stone. Yeah, he
Question. Union Cemetery in Madison.
that's Lackawanna County?
Yes.
Let's see, no, I don't think I have it, no. Frytown Cemetery?
Yeah,
Would that be Frytown?
So big, that's the,
I think I might have gone Wayne County though, let's see, Frytown.
Right, comes Lackawanna.
Yeah, and Jubilee is up there too.
Yeah, I may have to change, but
right.
McDonald Cemetery down the street here, Dale.
yes, yeah, I have that. I can show you that if you want to see that in the next minute or two. This here is the Frytown one. The McDonald Cemetery, okay. This cemetery here, there's no stones. What I have on this is death certificates. And there's 2 pictures of stones that are worn. There's a woman in here, and Tom remembers that, I'm sure. You can see where it says McDonald Cemetery, McDonald, whatever, it's down there.
O'Rourke.
A lot of infants, yeah, her name was O'Rourke, and, let's see,
She gave birth at the Lackawanna County Prison.
yes.
Dale has a death certificate.
There.
No father. See, there's no father on that line.
Place of birth, county jail.
Oh, my God.
Primitive or premature,
Premature birth.
Irish, and this certified a premature child of Miss Jenny O'Rourke died at 5 a.m. today from, I can't understand my writing there, but at the jail. So,
What's her first name?
1892.
The baby had no name.
Right. The mother was
Jenny.
O'Rourke.
Dale, was it Jenny question
Yeah.
back here?
Yeah, Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny O'Rourke. I want to find out what she went in jail for, if I can get the records. I'm interested.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, I guess if you're it looks like this. That cemetery is right there. You guys know where Johnson College is? You go right down there, almost as far as the Pepsi plant.
Pardon? Are you
Turn right.
Yeah, I got 3 countries. I do the research in.
All right, thank you very much. Dale?
Yeah, it is.